You are without doubt the worst pirate I've ever heard of.
But you have heard of me.
Hello and welcome. So this is the first video, and it's more of a introduction to the tools you're going to need, who I am, how this course is going to kind of work and everything. So I am the Pirate Patar. It was a name that was given to me a while back by kind of like a joke. We'll talk about it later, I'm sure. But first, before we go into any further, the video and the things discussed in this whole channel really are for educational use only. You need to get consent in writing via email or whatever before you do anything to anyone else's infrastructure. Now, I'm going to be working primarily with things that are VMs. I may spin something up in the cloud once or twice on my own account, but again, those are all owned by me. So everything I discuss will be, for you to do under your own accounts for things on your own machine. If you decide to use this for nefarious purposes, even if you just want to see if it works, you can go to jail. There are ways to find people. That's what I used to do for a living. Speaking of which, so I am a cybersecurity architect. I have been in IT for, good Lord, at least 18 years that I can think of. So I'm a bit of a Linux fanboy. I'm a blue team and a red teamer. I've been on both sides. To explain what those mean is where basically blue team is the defense, whereas red team are the attackers. So I also have a degree in network engineering. I graduated with a 4.0, and I worked hard for that 4.0, which is why I say it. I also won where I am been labeled a lethal forensicator, which means that in the SANS classes for advanced digital response and forensics and whatnot, there's a challenge coin that is given. They're hard to earn. They're intended to be rare. Only one's given out per class, and literally I had to beat out several FBI agents in order to get it, so I'm a little proud of it. I also have a certification. I have a lot of certifications, but my main one is Advanced Digital Forensics. So requirements for this course are going to be relatively simple. And I keep saying it's a course, but this is just me blabbering, and hopefully you're watching. It's not really like you're going to get a certificate of completion or anything at the end. But you're going to need virtual machine software, whether that's VMware, Virtualbox, or Hyper-V, which is part of Windows 10 for free, so you can run that yourself. And it's a good product. I used to manage several servers with that. You're going to need at least 8 gigs of RAM if you're running a bunch of VMs. I highly recommend more, at least 16, honestly. You're going to need to scale your VMs appropriately. Mine are going to probably have more memory than yours, because I've got 32 gigs on this machine. And when you're making a video, no one wants to watch a progress bar spin. You're going to need to have at least some Python knowledge. If you have none or very little, you may want to check out my previous, I've got some other videos on the channel that go in depth on some Python stuff. Like we built a project from scratch. It's a good 4 hours. But it does explain a lot of concepts and whatnot. And it's a cool little application. You're going to need to have some familiarity or comfort with the command line in Linux. If you're wanting to get into and I use this term very lightly, hacking, then you're going to need to know Linux. There's just too many tools that are available on Linux that are not available in other ways. That said, there are a lot of tools that we're going to be using inside Windows, so it is what it is. So what are the things you're going to need? You're going to need Virtualbox, like I said, with the VM stuff. Virtualbox is free, 100% free. It runs on every platform. It's easy to use. It's really a good platform. You can spend the money and pony up for VMware. I normally try to hit them on Black Friday because they have a really good sale, and that's about a month away. So maybe you use Virtualbox for a while and then wait for that. You're going to need to get Kali Linux. Now, Kali Linux is basically Linux with a ton of tools built in already. You can download all these tools yourself and install them yourself, but honestly, just download Kali. It's just much easier for everyone involved. You're going to need to get Metasploitable 2. Metasploitable 2 is a very vulnerable Linux distro that is given out by Rapid7. Rapid7 are the creators of Metasploit. So basically, Metasploitable 2 is designed to be hacked. Okay, it's much easier than us downloading our own distro, changing out the kernel to something that is vulnerable, right? It's basically a very unpatched system. Let's just leave it at that. You're going to need to get some type of IDE or a text editor. You can go with Visual Studio Code, which is a Microsoft version, and it's actually really good. It's probably the only product from Microsoft I'm ever going to recommend to someone. It's very nice. There is Codium, which is different, which is the open source version that this is based on. Codium does not have as much telemetry data being sent off to the robot overlords, Microsoft. So it's a little more privacy based, but here they actually have a privacy statement. So you could read that if you wish, if you have a degree in legalese. But you're going to need to have some type of text editor. This is really good. You can install support for Python. It's got a built-in terminal. It's got everything. It's really a nice software. You can also use PyCharm. I'm going to be using this a lot in general. I tend to use anything that's like a one-off. I use VS Code. And everything else I kind of just run. And by one-off, I mean like, 1 or 2 files. Everything else that needs like a full-on virtual environment or anything, I'll use PyCharm. PyCharm is free. They have a free community edition, which is all I use. I don't pay for the professional version. I have paid for many a thing from JetBrains. They are an amazing company, especially when I was PHP based. I would pony up every year, and it was totally worth it. So these are some of the tools. You're going to need other things here and there, and we'll talk about those tools during the individual videos that we do for them. So I also am going to try to keep these videos 30 minutes to 45 minutes, somewhere in there. It's a little more digestible that way. And I will be doing some cuts in and out, so you won't watch a bunch of progress bars and stuff. So I'll try to make it as professional as possible so that it maximizes the time of you guys learning. So that's kind of it. We will, the next video will probably be me just setting up our environment and stuff. You could totally skip that if you know how to do that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's it. So hope you guys enjoy it.